"You're not welcome," my brother hissed, after I shelled out $9,650 for the New Year's bash. "Then let them sway in quiet," I shot back, closing the venue and flashing every invoice on the screen. A choice was made. At 2:14 p.m., my brother's voice crackled through a recording in our family group chat. "You dampen the New Year's vibe. Stay away tonight." Laughter from Clara echoed faintly behind him, casual, almost warm, like I'd been casually dropped from a guest list. Not the event I'd meticulously planned, funded, and labored over for 3 solid months. I didn't reply right away. My phone glowed in my hand, finger lingering over the keyboard, while my other hand clutched the catering invoice. $9,650, paid in full from my account. The chat erupted moments later. My cousin Ethan typed, "Ouch, brutal but true." Clara chimed in, "Come on, this is a celebration, not a therapy circle." They had no idea I was still logged into the shared planning doc, watching them rename tabs from budget decor to pure fun vibes, oblivious that I held the power to shut down the venue they'd spent all day decking out, and they certainly didn't know I'd already made the call. I held off until 5:42 p.m. to respond, long after they'd collected the suits, the punch fountain, the glowing 2025 sign. My message, "Fine by me." Then I froze the event account, called the venue manager, ordered the place cleared by 11:50 p.m., paid extra for security, and handed them a precise script to follow. When Clara arrived in polished heels and a shimmering gown, the music was off. Lights dimmed, tables being wiped down, and a courteous guard in black, earpiece flashing, stood at the entrance. "I'm sorry," he said, glancing at his clipboard. "This event is canceled. Please exit by 11:57 p.m. I wasn't there. I didn't need to be. But I got the video. Someone sent it at 12:03 a.m. The footage wobbly, punch splattered, my brother yelling, "Oh, hold on, what's happening?" As the screen behind him went dark, no countdown, no romantic moment, no tunes, just silence and a glowing exit sign above the door. It was the first New Year's I'd spent alone in 5 years, and it was the most peaceful night I'd ever known. My name's Daniel, I'm 31, and I'm used to being the silent fixer, the one who pays, who organizes, who never complains. In the past year, I'd dropped over $22,000 on this family. Some might call that naive. I called it faith. Faith they'd eventually see it, appreciate it, maybe even say thanks. They didn't. My brother Mark, 34, a bartender still crashing at Mom's, always pitching his next big idea, claimed I had no say in the New Year's party because I was too negative. My mom, Linda, texted me privately, "Sweetie, don't take it personally. Just don't ruin the vibe." The vibe I'd funded down to every last napkin. How did it start? 3 months back, they called a family meeting. Mark pitched, "Let's make this one epic, something unforgettable." Mom added, "But cozy, not too showy, something intimate and family-focused." I quietly offered, "I can cover the budget." They didn't just agree, they were ecstatic. Mark even slapped my back. "You're the bank, man. Love it, bro." Bank. That word would haunt me. The trouble began with my first payment, $4,000 for the venue deposit, then $2,200 for catering. Then the signage, the big screen, the supplies, the photographer. I didn't track the total, trusting we'd finally have a drama-free celebration. But the chaos kicked in once the money flowed. The group chat turned strange. "Can I invite some friends?" Clara asked. "Are we getting a DJ, or is Daniel stuck on his moody playlist?" Mark teased. "I want a Hollywood-style photo booth." "Cool," Rachel said. The same Rachel who still owes me $850. When I suggested, "Hey, let's keep it within budget," the response was swift. "You said you'd cover everything." Then Mark dropped the line that changed it all. "You're paying because you're toxic. This is your penalty, but we're calling the shots." I saved a screenshot and filed it in a folder labeled Proof. Mom stayed silent. She always does. I messaged her privately, "Is this okay with you?" An hour later, she replied, "I don't want to pick sides. Just step back for everyone's sake." Step back. Then came the Instagram post. Mark's sister, who fancies herself a lifestyle influencer, shared a story. Finally, a party without bad vibes. No gloom this year. In the background, the decorations I'd paid for. Other relatives either chuckled or said nothing. When I typed in the chat, "Maybe I'll sit this one out," a distant cousin replied, "Who even invited you? LOL. That's when I started saving everything. Receipts, payment confirmations, even an email from the venue stating I'd covered all costs. The others were just listed as guests. Then it got ugly. They excluded me from planning calls, removed me from shared docs, and shifted meeting times without telling me. When I asked about the menu, they said, "We already decided. It's better if you don't show up. This is supposed to be fun. You don't get it." But the worst was yet to come. An email arrived, subject line, "Daniel, please stay away." It was a family-wide message, signed by 9 people, including Mom. It read, "We feel your presence doesn't align with the spirit of our event. This isn't personal. It's about keeping everyone comfortable. Please don't attend. We appreciate your financial support, which has been fully utilized, but we respectfully ask you to stay home. Sincerely, your family. You can brush off slights, you can endure pain. But when they erase you from the very event you funded, that's not family. That's a group with access to your bank account. That's when I decided. No yelling, no arguing, just action. I locked the funds. I'm showing up, I said to myself, but not as your doormat." By 9:40 p.m., the venue was packed. By 10:15, the punch fountain sparkled. The rented 2025 lights glowed gold and silver. The DJ spun 2,000 hits. Like hope still lingered. Not once did they mention me. They danced under the arch I'd paid for, snapped photos by the balloon wall I'd designed, laughed at tables with floral arrangements I'd ordered, each costing more than Mark's weekly tips. But I wasn't idle. I was watching. The venue had a live feed, a feature I'd added when we thought Grandpa might not make it. They forgot about it. I didn't. At 11:35 p.m., as they posed for photos and tossed confetti, I hit send. A 7-minute video landed in the private family chat titled, "Who Funded Your Celebration?" The opening shot was me, holding receipts, calm, not angry. Odd how I'm the villain for bankrolling a party none of you could afford. Then came the evidence, screenshots, transaction logs, payment confirmations, and the planning doc with my name on every entry. Then the texts, "Daniel's not invited. He kills the vibe. Rachel. As long as he pays, who cares?" And finally, the email. "Daniel, please stay away." I zoomed in on the signatures. I didn't speak, just let the screen tell the story. Then came the audio. At 11:41 p.m., the venue speakers stuttered. They thought it was a glitch until my voice rang out, "You cut me out of the party I funded." So I ended it. Silence swept the room like a chill. You call me the problem? I'm the only one being real. Let's drop the act. At 11:43 p.m., the guards moved in. I'd spoken to the venue owner earlier, laid out the situation, and offered a $400 bonus per guard to follow my plan. At 11:45 p.m., the music stopped, lights dimmed, and the head guard, a tall man in a dark suit holding a tablet, stepped onto the dance floor like it was his stage. "Guests, attention. This event has been terminated by the primary contract holder. Vacate the premises by 11:57 p.m. Happy New Year." Clara screamed first, knocking over a punch tray. Mark shouted at the guard, "He can't do this! He's not even here!" Then the projector flared to life. Not the countdown, but their email. Every name, every slight, every word about vibes and comfort blazed across the wall. Then part 2 of the video, one I'd kept secret. Screenshots, private chats, notes. Clara to her friend. "If we exclude him, he'll just spend more to prove himself." A Venmo request labeled Vibe Tax from Rachel and Mark, and Mark's email to the venue 2 weeks prior asking to bill me but remove me from the guest list. It was all there. At 11:49 p.m., Mark called me. I didn't pick up. I texted, "You said I'm too dark, but for once you're not faking it. This isn't darkness, it's a reset." By 11:57 p.m., they were all outside. Clara sobbed in the parking lot. Mark yelled into his phone. Mom sat on a bench, clutching her tiny purse like it held answers. Me? I watched from home, on a couch I'd bought, in an apartment they'd never seen. I poured myself a glass of cheap sparkling cider, store brand, but mine. I raised it to the screen and whispered, "Happy New Year." 3 days later, no messages. Nothing. It felt odd. Usually, Clara would have posted by now. Mark would have stirred some drama. But it was quiet. Too quiet. I knew their game, silence as a trap, meant to guilt me into caving. But I felt nothing. I wasn't playing their rules anymore. On day 5, Mom called. I didn't answer. Her voicemail. "Daniel, let's talk." No fighting. Just talk. We all went too far. You and them. Meet us Saturday at your dad's old storage unit. We want to settle this. A storage unit? That was new. I sensed it wasn't just a chat. I grabbed my external drive and a spare USB, parked a block away, and walked over. The unit was run down, faded yellow walls, chipped paint, the Easy Store sign barely legible. Section B13. The door was ajar. Inside, Mark, Clara, Mom. No hellos, no coffee, no warmth. The silence was thick, broken only by a neighbor dragging furniture next door. Mom nodded slightly. "Thanks for coming. We want to close this chapter." "Close what?" I asked, sitting on a flimsy plastic chair by shelves of dusty boxes. "What's this about?" Mark spoke, measured, like he'd rehearsed. "We know we messed up, but your reaction was over the top. People are gossiping. Family's calling. We're humiliated. Humiliated, I echoed, for once standing my ground. Clara jumped in. We didn't realize it cut so deep. We just thought, you always said it was fine. I countered, you banned me from the party I paid for. Silence again. Then the curveball. Mom said, we want to give you something. It's fair. She stood, walked to the back, opened a box, and pulled out an old combination safe. It's your father's. He said to give it to you if you ever realized family matters more than hurt feelings. You're at a crossroads, Daniel. We all are. Take the safe and you're choosing us. Leave it and it's over. No going back. I approached the safe slowly. What's in it? His business documents, shared assets. Some are in your name. If you walk away, we lose it all. There it was. Not remorse, not regret, but leverage. The air felt stale, thick with dust and old memories. I pulled out my USB, plugged it into my laptop, and turned the screen toward them. Look at this. Bank transfers, statements, and something new. I opened a folder. Lease fraud, December 2024. Their faces drained. You forgot I paid your apartment deposit, didn't you, Mom? Every transaction ran through me. What did you do? She whispered. I checked the lease. The landlord didn't know you were the tenant. And the signature? Mine. That's identity theft. But I offered an out. I stood. Keep the safe. I'm taking what's mine. In 48 hours, the landlord gets a letter terminating the lease. You're out. No refund. Daniel, please, Clara said, voice trembling. You can't, I replied. I already have. I left the storage unit. They didn't follow. They didn't speak. They just sat there, like people who'd been caught. The next morning, I visited my own unit, B03, grabbed a box labeled Leases and Legal, and took it to my new office, a small space in a business hub I'd recently invested in, now a part owner. At 2 p.m., the landlord called. They got the notice. Owner's livid. He's starting eviction. He's being kind. They can clear out by Saturday if they go quietly. Sound good? Yes, I said. Saturday it is. At 5:23 p.m., Mark texted, You actually did it? I didn't reply. A month after their eviction, I found real silence. Not the kind you drown with music, but the deep kind. No hum of appliances, no pinging notifications, no one asking for favors. I didn't reach out. I didn't wonder. I just was. Calm, clear, free of static. Then came an odd email from a courier service. Delivery scheduled Friday, 9 to 11 a.m. Sender, Family Harris. Size, 1 crate. Weight, 62 pounds. 62 pounds. I hadn't ordered anything. I hadn't shared my address. But they'd found it, of course. On Friday, a white van pulled up. The driver barely glanced at me. Sign here. What's in it? I asked. You'll see. I signed. He left. Inside the crate, documents, photos, a few USBs, and a small key ring. One key stood out, V13, the old unit. They'd sent it like a final challenge. I went that Saturday, not seeking closure, but knowing how they operated, never leaving anything unless it was a trap. I unlocked the unit. It was nearly bare, save for one dusty box in the center labeled in my childhood scrawl, Things 2007. I'd forgotten it existed. Inside, my old science fair project, a comic I'd drawn, a broken toy truck, birthday cards with crayon scribbles, my past boxed away. At the bottom, a single black sheet, typed, not handwritten, crisp edges. We took too much. We made you a tool, not a person, but we never despised you. We envied your resilience. We mocked what we couldn't tame. Mark. Genuine? Number. It was a flimsy attempt to shed guilt, tossed at me like crumbs to halt my retaliation. No real remorse, just a faint, we knew, as if that fixed it. I tore the letter piece by piece, feeling each rip. Then came the true end. As I locked the unit, a man in a sharp suit appeared in the corridor, tablet in hand, composed. Daniel Harris? Yes. He handed me a folder. Your parents applied for a loan last week, listing you as co-signer. Old address, your real financials. What? I said. There are issues. Details don't add up. Protocol demands we verify. Do you want to report this as fraud? I scanned the papers, spotting the handwriting, the forged signature. Total amount? $93,000. First payment cleared, rest is under review. You're liable until we get a dispute filed. I let out a harsh chuckle, like a scoff. They hadn't quit. They were still trying to bleed me, betting I'd catch on too late. That Monday, I filed a police report for identity theft, attaching every email, chat, and unapproved transaction. 7 days later, they were summoned for questioning. A month later, a detective called, We're building a case. This is big. The irony? They sent the key, thinking it was a truce, but it was a breadcrumb, a trail leading to their scheme. They hoped to hook me with nostalgia, slipping a contract past me while I looked away. They forgot who I was now. I'm not ashamed. Not of being used. Not of staying too long. Not of loving people who didn't deserve it. But above all, I'm done. On Wednesday, I changed the office locks. On Thursday, I either froze accounts they'd touched accounts. On Friday, I got a new number. For good. I kept one backup drive, not out of fear, but because evidence matters. That day, I walked into a meeting with my new business partner, a sharp woman who knew nothing of my family's mess. On the way, I passed a billboard I'd overlooked for years. It read, "Family isn't who shares your blood, it's who doesn't drain you dry." I paused, snapped a photo, not to share, but for me. Then I entered the meeting, signed a lease for another office, grabbed a flimsy paper cup of lousy coffee from the lobby, and grinned. For the first time in my adult life, I owed no one a thing. So, what are your thoughts on this story? Do you agree with what happened, or do you see it differently? Let us know your opinion in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of our upcoming stories. See you in the next one.